Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and I know the Steam Autumn sale is coming to an end, but I still wanted to make a video taking a look at some of the deals that I found to be quite good. A lot of retreads here, but we're looking at games under the price of $3, so these are super cheap games that I would recommend you to pick up. I'll probably do one more video tomorrow before the conclusion of the sale, and then we'll round things out heading into the winter sale, which will be happening later next month. But let's get right into it. Got 10 games to go over, so we'll try to hit this all very quickly. First up, we have Bastion, which is 80% off for $2.99. This was Supergiant Games' debut title, and Supergiant now has, well, kind of become a supergiant in the video game scene. They put out the wildly successful Hades recently, and since they've also put out Transistor, Empire, but you never forget your first, and Bastion was a terrific game, and a game that has just aged marvelously. You know, considering this game came out in 2011, the fact that in 2021, north of a decade since it's come out, it still looks fantastic, it still plays really well, the music is excellent, the narration in this game is so good. For $3, I would highly recommend you to pick it up. It's still a game that I remember when I first got my PC, and I remember this game going on sale as one of the Steam daily deals, and I picked it up, and I was like, wow, this game is fantastic. And then it was also released on the Xbox 360 as one of the first premier Xbox Live arcade titles, and still holds up incredibly well for $3. It's a great pickup. Next up, gotta throw it in, Enslaved Odyssey to the West Premium Edition, 85% off for $3. Look, I'm gonna recommend this game until the end of days. This is such a terrific game by Ninja Theory, a studio now that has done wildly acclaimed titles. They put out Hellblade, they put out DMC, Devil May Cry. Enslaved Odyssey to the West was a fantastic game following the journey of Monkey and Trip, two characters in a post-apocalyptic environment. However, Enslaved is a little different in terms of its post-apocalyptic presentation because you have an incredibly colorful and vibrant world. It's just bustling with color, and it's a game that has a very gripping narrative. The ending was a little bit but overall, gameplay standpoint, visual standpoint, and even the story standpoint for the most part, I think it's at a very high level. At $2.99, 85% off, I think it's a great pickup, and I would highly recommend it. Next up, we have Left 4 Dead 2, which is 80% off for $1.99. Look, this is a game that is a timeless classic. You can look at Back 4 Blood, you can look at a bunch of other cooperative titles, and yes, do they have their appeal? Absolutely, but Left 4 Dead 2 is an all-time classic. It has a staggering 398,000 Steam user reviews. 97% of those reviews are positive, and rightfully so. It is a tremendous game that if you want a game with longevity, appeal for a long time, and endless upon endless amounts of replayability, Left 4 Dead 2 is as good as it's gonna get. Now, is it a game that I would recommend you to go into solo? Probably not. I would say, hey, convince a couple buddies to pick it up, jump into it together, and you're gonna have a really good time with it. But for $1.99, I think Left 4 Dead 2 is absolutely excellent, and it's one of those games that's always super easy to recommend. Next up, we have The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Enhanced Edition, 85% off for $2.99. Yes, when you talk about The Witcher these days, all eyes are on The Witcher 3, and maybe rightfully so. It is a tremendous game, but this is still a fantastic game. I think Witcher 2 is excellent. Now, the issue with Witcher is, if you start from Witcher 1, I think you'll be put off by the franchise a little bit, just because Witcher 1 has not aged all too well. Witcher 2, while it definitely shows its age in parts, it still holds up relatively well, and well enough that you can definitely play through the game. Visually, it still looks solid, and gameplay-wise, while there's some things that I wish were done a little bit differently, I still think it's a great game for $3. The narrative, voice acting, all those elements are, of course, incredibly strong, and considering you're paying $3, obviously a no-brainer here. Next up, we have Castle Crashers, which is 80% off for $2.99. Another fantastic, timeless classic. This is a game that also holds up incredibly well, and it's a game that you want to play in cooperative play. I would not jump into this solo. I would, once again, convince a couple friends to pick it up, and you can have a great time with it. This is a game that you jump in with a couple buddies, you crack open a couple beers, and you have a fantastic, enjoyable Saturday evening with it. It's a timeless game that you can go back to over and over again. Solo play isn't great, but as a co-op action multiplayer title, it's hilarious, it's enjoyable, and it's filled with charm, and for $3, I think it's a great pickup. Next up, want to give a shout to Just Cause 2 and Just Cause 3. Just Cause 2 is $1.49. Just Cause 3 is $2.99. Both of these games are really good. Just Cause 2 obviously a little bit older, dropping back in 2010. Just Cause 3 more recent, coming out in 2015. If you want something that's more visually appealing, Just Cause 3 is definitely the game to go. Just Cause 2 is still a ton of fun. You go into these games for open world chaotic fun. You're not here to get invested into the story of Rico Rodriguez. That's not what we're doing here, mate. We're going in, we're blowing things up, and we're having a good old time. That's what you're gonna get with Just Cause 2 and Just Cause 3. They are both incredibly enjoyable games that, again, you don't take too seriously. You can go in and have quite a bit of fun. Just Cause 3 obviously had some issues with its PC launch, really its launch on every platform. A lot of technical issues, but a lot of that has been remedied and now is a pretty great game. Next up, we have Tomb Raider 2013, 85% off for $2.24. Wow, I can't believe it's this cheap. I still remember like it was yesterday, dropping $60 on this game, and guess what? I would do it again. Tomb Raider 2013 is one of my favorite games of all time, to be perfectly honest. I like Rise of the Tomb Raider better, don't get me wrong, but I love the Tomb Raider game since the 2013 reboot. I think it's a fantastic origin story. The gameplay is great. The story in Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider, are very good. And if you're getting into the trilogy, you start with Tomb Raider 2013. It's not the lengthiest game in the world. You can probably beat it over a weekend or a lengthy play session on a Saturday, but it's a fantastic game. And yeah, it sees comparisons to Uncharted, but guess what? I think it's just as good, or if not, in areas better than Uncharted. And who cares? Tomb Raider was out first. It's great in its own right, and I think it's tremendous. 224 is fantastic, and I would highly, highly recommend it. Just a great line of games, and also then you jump into Rise of Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider as well, and hopefully Square Enix will drop another Tomb Raider sooner rather than later. Next up, we have Dishonored, which is 70% off for $2.99. They do also have Dishonored, I believe, the Definitive Edition for $5, so that might be something you want to get instead. Dishonored's a great game, man. This is a game that I actually bought the physical copy of on PC back in 2012 when it came out. That's how old this game is. It was 2012. It's not that old. It still holds up pretty well because it's got this great art style. It's got a good look to it. Obviously, you can play through the game in a variety of ways. You can either go run and gun. You can play it a little bit more stealthy. I'd probably go the route of being more of a stealthy playthrough. I think you're going to enjoy the game a bit more, and you have reason to go back and play through it the chaotic route if you want. $3 for this, I think, is quite good, and of course, there's reason to check out Dishonored 2 as well. That is a very good game in its own right, and I think you're going to enjoy that quite a bit. A lot of people seem to like Dishonored 1 more, but both games are good. Dishonored 1 fits that $3 price threshold, though. Next up, we have Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut, 85% off for $2.99. Love this game, man. Picked it up on the PlayStation 3 back in 2011 when it initially came out. Looking back, it definitely had some technical issues on there. Played the PC version as well, and this Director's Cut is the refined version of it. It is fantastic. Great story. More on the linear side of things, but you have a variety of ways you can tackle the game. Once again, I would recommend you to take more of a silent approach, hack through everything, don't get detected all too much, and that's probably the optimal way you're going to enjoy the game. This game has a much stronger story than Mankind Divided. Mankind Divided, I do think, improves the gameplay a little bit, but this still holds up really well. $3 for the Director's Cut is excellent. Next up, another game, and lastly, another game I always recommend. Sleeping Dogs, the Definitive Edition, is 85% off for $2.99. Look, this is a tremendous game. It's so unfortunate that we're probably not going to get a Sleeping Dogs 2. Honestly, it's very saddening to think about, but it is so good. You've got a great main character. Hand-to-hand combat is great. Quite a bit of content, especially with this Definitive Edition, including all of the additional content that was released for the base game. Another game that I remember picking up for $60 back in 2012, I think it came out in, and I had a fantastic time with this one as well. Relatively lengthy as well, especially if you want to do everything. Like, if you want to rush through the main story, it's not going to be that long, probably 12 to 15 hours, but you want to do everything, it's going to be a little bit more sizable of a playthrough. But great game, great main character, and maybe someday we'll actually get a sequel. But that's going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great games under the price of $3. Definitely a lot more here. A lot more that I can mention than that's just here. Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, just off the top of my head, are two major games under $3. And then there's so much more on top of that, but these are 10 that I thought were easy to recommend. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Probably going to cover, games under $10 or something like that tomorrow. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.